Hello Giants fans, welcome to Giants Baseball 101. I'm Gabe Vaughn, your host. It's really good to be back, and I doubt that I even need to say how totally thrilled I am with the growth of this channel over the past few days. We added like 6 new subscribers, and on the last video, the one for the game when Logan Webb pitched a shutout, we reached a record of up to 200 views. If that's just viral. It's a record as far as I can tell. It is the most views ever reached on a single Giants Baseball 101 video in all of our history. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching and subscribing, everything you've done. It's just incredible. I am so happy about the results that I'm seeing, and a goal that I'm shooting for is that last viral video on Sunday by the season's end. The goal I'm really shooting for is to have every video get around that number of views. But we're really growing, and thank you so much, everybody who's been viewing these and subscribing. It's just really incredible, and I think we can become an even bigger group of Giants fans. Well, Alex Cobb and Camilo Doval both did end up pitching a scoreless inning in the All-Star game. And that game, just watching it, it was clear. Just the intensity level, you could really see. Nobody was actually playing for their team. It was just the best representatives from both leagues. But there was just something about that game on Tuesday, I think particularly going into the 9th inning. And maybe it's just what you'd expect to happen when one league dominates this yearly classic for like 9 consecutive years that it's played. And then because the National League, they want to win their first in a long time, and obviously the American League, they don't want to break their record. So it just seems like for one day at least, everybody just decided to make it a life or death issue. But you could just see watching that game, and particularly in the 9th inning with Craig Kimbrell on the mound for the National League trying to close it out with a 1-run lead, you could just see the whole intensity level there. It was just... And I think particularly for Kimbrell, he walked a couple of hitters. I'm pretty sure that he was kind of struggling with a bunch of nervous emotion there, and that's what contributed to his loss of command. But he really got it all together and striking that last hitter out there. Anyway, the Giants beat the Pirates 6-4 today, so they come back from the All-Star break apparently refreshed. And honestly, I thought that Logan Webb would be on the mound for the Giants today, but evidently they just want to give him some extra rest here, given that he leads the league in innings pitched. And that's really been the key for the Giants, I think, at least one of them up to this point. Webb's dominance, as well as his ability to go deep into games. That's been just one of the key aspects for the Giants coming up to this point, but I guess they feel the need to kind of give him some extra rest. And I didn't initially think that was a great plan to skip his start here. But hey, if they won. If they can win these games, I think that at least we have to say with the outcome of this game, it turned out to be the best thing if the Giants ultimately won this game. Now Webb is saved for later. Ross Stripling went 4 2/3 innings for the Giants today, so they didn't just bring him in for 2 innings and then replace him. They just, Gabe Kapler left Stripling in to try to get some innings out of him today. He still didn't go full length start, but he did stick in the game after the first couple of innings this time. And it I mean, he was effective enough to keep the Giants in this, and then Sean Manaea replaced him, got into trouble in the 6th, and Mauricio Jovera had to come in and do his best to get out of it. In the 5th inning, Michael Conforto hit a 2-run RBI single, get 2 on the board for the Giants. And then in the 7th inning, Patrick Bailey hit an RBI single, and then he stole his first career base. And I just have to pause here. With all of the attention that Bailey is already getting, I didn't listen to anyone talk about this or read any articles about it yet, other than just seeing that's the highlight of the game video on MLB.com. But, I mean, can you imagine the public reaction that this event is going to get? Bailey was already killing it for the Giants, both with the bat and, I mean, as a catcher, he'd shown a lot of things, at least as a catcher framer. He was already projecting as a real prospect for the Giants, so now when he stole his first career base as a catcher, that's just a big thing. I mean, I can't imagine the public reaction we're going to see on this one. And you remember earlier in the year, there was that game in the 9th inning when Blake Sabol, he tried to steal a base in, no doubt, a desperate situation. I think they were behind like 1 run, and Sabol was thrown out. That was a catcher attempt at a stolen base gone wrong. But this time, Patrick Bailey did it right, and he got a second. And yeah, I know there are all the weird rules and all that, and the pitch timer, and you gotta watch you can't throw to first base more than like 3 times and all that. I know there's all the weird stuff, but I mean, still, from a catcher, you just have to say that this was a huge moment for Bailey. Then Luis Matos singled Bailey in, and then he stole a base after that. The Giants ended up with a 6-4 win. Tyler Rogers went 2 innings for the Giants, 2 scoreless innings today. So, I mean, if there was an all-star case, it would be Rogers definitely. There had to be an all-star case for him. It's just baseball's abuse of non-closer relief pitchers. That's just it's been a problem. It's really been a decades-long problem. A decades-long problem. Although I know it used to be starters would, just as a routine, go longer and maybe, but I mean, at least since the real upward trend in the usage of relief pitchers, this just, I mean, it's got to stop. But Rogers, in my mind, he was an all-star, and he pitched really well again today, and Camilo Doval got the save. So the Giants have come back from the all-star break, and they've taken Game 1 in this series against the Pirates. I believe that it's Alex Cobb that we'll see on the mound tomorrow. Webb, I don't think he's pitching in this series, but I mean, they won behind Stripling today, so they should be able to win behind Cobb tomorrow. And it's just, things are looking really good for the Giants, really promising. That they're just not too far behind first place in the National League West. It would just be great if they could just gain some ground there. I think whatever happens with that, they're going to be in a good wild card spot. It's just, this could be the year for them. So after going through all of that, I do want to briefly mention something I haven't really gotten a chance to discuss, and that's the draft for the Giants. I forget what day of June it was, but late in June, the draft came and went, and the Giants, it's just, I haven't really researched who they've picked, except for the two-way player, Bryce Eldridge. In general, it's just really too early to say, because I'm not a Giants scout. I can't say how they did at the draft right now. We really have to wait and see as these players develop. So I'm really not here to answer the question of how they performed and whether this was success or a failure or somewhere in between for them, because you just first have to see the development of these players, and how they're likely to be in the big leagues, and you just can't say right after draft day what it is. But the two-way player, Bryce Eldridge, I think two-way talent is always interesting to me. But there is the thing here is that if you do get a guy to the big leagues, if he's being too well-rounded could actually turn out to be a bad thing if he turns out to not be good at either pitching or hitting. Then the Giants really haven't gotten themselves a plus. So we're just waiting to see there. If he can be, I think if he can get to the big leagues and put up quality numbers at either one or the other, that's going to be a plus for the Giants because he'll have two abilities there. And if he can, I think he does have some good pitches he can use, and that might develop into something that's major league worthy. If he can get to if Eldridge can get to the big leagues in a few years and put up good numbers with his pitching, then if he can maintain at least average with the bat, that would be huge for the Giants. It's just I think this is great, honestly, but he's got to develop in some way. And I think, not that I've done a whole lot of reading on this, but I think particularly as a pitcher, that's maybe the first thing we're looking at. But we'll have to see with him and how that kind of goes down in the future. Didn't want to spend too much time talking about that because we're really focused on the here and now and what's going to happen for the Giants in 2023. The trade deadline is definitely, it's coming up. It's quickly approaching. What the Giants really need to do is avoid having a losing skid right in front of it like they had last year. But as far as guys on the market, I still think they should target starting pitching, really make that a priority. Not that they shouldn't look elsewhere, but I think a priority right now is starting pitching. And I did hear from one place that the Dodgers were interested in looking at Lucas Giolito if the White Sox were going to put him on the market. And I think he is a pretty solid pitcher. If the Giants can give the Dodgers some competition there, that might be worth doing. They're looking to add a starter. I'm really just holding off right now on commenting on Shohei Ohtani. I still think there's a chance he's going to become available on the market, and I still think the Giants should be in the running for him. But I'm kind of holding off on making huge comments on that until we really see how things are going to turn out there. Whether he's going to be on the market at all and what is going to be asked for him. I would say the only major point I'm going to try to make there as of right now is that is an area where there could be competition from the Dodgers. And the main thing to be afraid of, there's one main overarching thing I think to be afraid of, and this has to do with our this just has to do with the Giants as an organization, being able to hold their heads up. In 2021, they were defeated by the Dodgers in the postseason. There's just something here with as far as organizational self-respect that it extends to us fans, that basically the principle here is we can't suffer another defeat by the Dodgers in the postseason. If there's something to be nervous about going forward, it would be a potential rematch in the postseason against the Dodgers. The stakes on that are really high, and that's what specific bearing does it have on getting Shohei Ohtani? Well, if the Dodgers are going to try to do it, maybe at least even just to prevent, it's going to make a big difference to prevent the Dodgers from doing it. Maybe the Giants had better jump in there because there are things that have happened in recent history that they can't, they cannot be repeated. I'm just saying you're never going to be able to wear a Giants shirt in public again if they do. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but you kind of get the point. So that's the time when Giants would consider making it a priority. But other than that, I'm probably not going to say anything until we get closer to the deadline, but I do want to focus on kind of the other options that they have, and Lucas Giolito might be one of them. The White Sox, they're not out of playoff contention. It's just really, and honestly, for a team that's in playoff contention, I'm just of the opinion that they really shouldn't sell, but it's not, I'm not really focused here on whether the White Sox should or shouldn't trade Giolito. Just if they do put him up, what can the Giants do to get him? And just the fact that the White Sox may be in contention, it does kind of make you think that they're going to ask something for him if they do. Like, if you're a team that's just hopelessly out of it, maybe just a couple of prospects, I don't know, but you're a team that's in that, it's like the White Sox would feel like they were giving up a bit more, but just the way the market is this year, wherever the Giants look, they're going to have to be willing to trade some of their prospects, which is why I hope that the guys they got in this year's draft, that's one reason why I hope they turn out so that they can afford to part with some of their organizational prospects. But the point is, they're going to have to do something, so they might as well just look at the best places to find new talent for their roster. Now, the other starting pitcher I wanted to mention is Blake Snell. He's an impending free agent. He has a really good ERA for the Padres this year, and I think, the Padres, they really are falling out of contention. 4th in the National League West. It is just growing increasingly unlikely, I think, that they're going to be playoff contenders this year. I certainly don't think there's any chance they could win the division. A wild card spot might be a slim possibility, but it's not something that I would expect Padres fans are super hopeful about right now. And probably their front office isn't either. So if they decided they wanted to put Blake Snell up on the market, I wonder if that would mean something for the Giants, because he'd be a good pitcher to get. If they could trade for him, now how expensive would he be? Well, the Padres probably aren't just going to let him go easily, but again, it's one of these years the Giants just have to go for it. I think this rebuilding thing, it's been taking kind of a long time here. I think at some point the Giants are just going to have to go for it. That's the overall principle here. So if they can get Blake Snell, I'd say they do it. They have to do something here that's going to make a quality impact. So I guess that is all for today. And once again, I'm really happy to be back here and really happy with the result of the Giants game today. It was just that steal from Patrick Bailey. It was just, I think that's going to be a highlight that is going to be remembered just for a long time. He's really, I think he's really just working really well and becoming a well-rounded player and just getting better and better, and that's one thing the Giants really need. So that is just, it's really the highlight of the game today. So thank you for watching. This has been Giants Baseball 101. Please subscribe if you haven't. Also, please leave your questions and comments. You know where to do it. I'll see you next time on Giants Baseball 101.